Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
You know, I thought two things as we were marching up Amelia Street. One is my watch went off and asked me if I wanted to record this outdoor walk, so I remembered I was getting my steps in. The other thing I thought about is people who had marched with a purpose before this. To whom much is given, much is expected. And I remember marches that were meaningful 50 years ago. But that doesn't mean we can't or shouldn't still march today. But it's those marchers from back then who allowed us to take this stroll this morning. And we appreciate that. And let me recognize Representative Ott, Representative Govan, Senator Stevens, Representative Kyle Hunter, Representative Hosey, all members of the Orangeburg delegation who signed on to the letter to the Department of Transportation for this road naming to take place. But when I was first approached and we talked about, well, we knew the idea was right. The question was, which street should we name? And we talked about different streets, and somebody suggested Amelia Street. So I thought about that for a while, and I said, well, you know, Amelia Street actually might make the most sense of all. Amelia Street starts at the river. Before any of our ancestors, African or European, set foot on this land, native peoples inhabited this very area. Their name were the Edisto, and from them we get the river, because this is where they lived. It's the river that continues to this day to give us life. When you go home and turn on your water tap, when you get ready to take your shower, we're getting water from this very river. So that the street would start at the river, I thought was really appropriate. And then where does the street end? It ends at the railroad. And I thought, well, but you know, it was the railroad that led Orangeburg to grow from that sleepy little settlement to a city. Orangeburg was one of the first settlements of what was then called the colony of South Carolina, but it was really, really small. But when the railroad came, Orangeburg started to develop and grow. So again, Amelia Street started to make more and more sense to me. And then if you think about it, where does Amelia go? It goes right past the courthouse. And the courthouse is the place that we all have available to us when we seek justice. The inscription says, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So the fact that this street would run by the courthouse made it more impactful to me that we're going to name this Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Even though, for history's sake, this is our 5th courthouse, and we're about to have the 6th one. Orangeburg's one of those cities that's been around so long, we've had a lot of courthouses. We've lost them in war, we've lost them in fire, but we still have a courthouse. If you seek justice, it'll be here, and now it'll be on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. But if you think what's further up Amelia Street, really we get to what many would describe as the soul of the city, our 2 universities, Claflin and South Carolina State. Institutions of higher learning that Dr. King actually went to inspire students back in the day to do their part. Nonviolence, peacefully, but to do those things that needed to be done. Sit-ins, protests, and marches. Right along Amelia Street. And then also along Amelia is Trinity, the church that Dr. King spoke at when he urged the citizens of Orangeburg to do their part, We all did back then, and we continue to do that today. So I tell you that as you think about why Amelia Street, there are a lot of reasons why Amelia Street is the right street to name Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Thank you.